All right, here we go. We're taking a quick look, well, not so quick look, at Anthony Palma, dealing with Kristen Hatfield, who disappeared from her home in 1997.
I run on nicotine and caffeine.
We're the same age, and I tell you anymore, if I drink a lot of water. I had some stomach issues, and the doc says drink water. It really helps with the indigestion real bad.
There's cursory glance. It's only going to be about an hour and a half.
But if I can sleep through the night or get about 4 or 5 hours without having to get up and pee.
Yeah.
About 6 o'clock.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what
That's me.
That's him, man.
When we fly, we have family out of state, so we have to fly there. The day before I leave, I start dehydrating myself. I can't stand to get on a plane and have to try to pee. And it never fails. I don't know if it's the cabin pressure or what. I can go pee 5 seconds before I get on. As soon as it gets up in the air, I gotta go pee. You know, and everyone, you're walking down the aisle trying to get people out of your way.
And
Especially when you got really, really good.
Really good blood.
Just dehydrate yourself like crazy before.
Especially when you got really, really good.
And it never fails. It never fails.
It seems like I drink more at night. Whenever I go to bed, I have to have something right there.
You drink more.
Because I get up 2 or 3 times to do my nebulizer, and then you have to have something to drink to wash the yuckiness out, go down.
Notice how we just said wash the yuckiness out. Like that's like
asthma.
That's how a child would say it. It's really weird, man. He's a grown ass man. The yuckiness.
We're fighting with the insurance company to get him one of those breathing things, so they can give him treatments at home instead of having to go pay $1,000 at the ER to get a breathing treatment. The insurance company says, well, no, you got to have a prescription from a doctor to get it. We're going.
You do. Although both my machines were gave to me.
Why does he have 2 machines? Nobody knows. Nobody knows why, right? But this cop, or detective, his grandson, needs a nebulizer treatment so often that they go to the hospital, and you know, because the insurances are so wacky, he's trying to get one for his grandchild. But stupid Anthony Palma, smoking 3 packs a day bastard, right? He has 2 machines for some reason.
The steroid stuff that you put in, you have a prescription with, right? Is that how that works?
Raw, sulfate, and something.
Okay. He's going to be nice to you anyway. Well,
I know you said no, but I always told you if you're drinking for somebody, and I'll offer him.
Wade and them have a little advantage over me, Tony. They've met you before, and one of the
man,
homeskiller coming down here to talk to.
Well, you know, as a state employee,
Yeah,
you know,
state
it's
employee, yeah.
something we have to do.
He's got 2 machines.
We have to
got
abide by all
prescriptions.
Well, we appreciate
law
it.
enforcement and all that.
And here's where we're kind of bad. We're still looking at the Kristen Hatfield thing, and we're going back and we're talking to a lot of people. And I know over the years.
You weren't there the first time they came down, were you?
No, I was with Miller the last time we came to talk to you about the other deal.
Yeah.
You, over 17 years, I know in my life, I've changed a lot. And so we wanted to talk to you about if you can kind of tell me 17 years ago how your life was, how that neighborhood was, what was going on in that neighborhood. I know I've read some of the reports that from the interviews before, and how it appears to me that they call you Uncle Tony around there because you care about the kids.
Help them, or somebody's washing machine was broke down. And older people, you know, they can't nights, older people,
Right.
you know, can't do stuff. And I've always been mechanically inclined, you know, where I could figure stuff out, you know,
Right.
or help them move this, or, you know, just, I've always been, I don't know about friendly, but neighborly.
Right.
And that being my first home,
Right.
you know, I tried to make it where that neighborhood was my home.
Yeah.
First home?
Did you help any of the kids over there?
You grew up in
Well,
that
when
house?
Feed them pizza?
Yeah, I've always, there's always, that's
You
my
were the Kool-Aid house?
Well, I don't know about Kool-Aid. That's always been my pet peeve, is I grew up hungry. You know, and I
know
don't,
about Kool-Aid.
there's a lot of kids hungry.
I don't know about that Kool-Aid man busting through the frickin' wall. You know, I don't know about that. But I do know about being a fucking scumbag. Excuse me. Anyway, I digress.
You know, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not where I'd go out of my way, hey, you hungry? But I mean, you see kids, you're over there eating something, and they're just,
Right.
you know, you see them draw it, here, take it. I
Right.
can't stand that.
Yeah.
And I'm that like that now. I got 2 damn kids in my house, grown boys. One, he says that when he was at his house, he didn't eat from Monday to Friday till he got to my house.
Wow. You know,
Right.
that's one of the stories I want to turn my phone off so people
Yeah,
will
me
leave
too.
me alone. As my partner, Lander said, we're still working on the Hatfield case, okay? And there's some things that we want to go back over with you. We try to be as thorough as we can be on cases like this. And do you mind just initially kind of take us back to 1997 and go back over that, maybe that evening before and into that morning when all of it all kind of started blowing up, and just best you can tell us everything you remember.
This guy coughing.
And take your time. I know
This
we're going
guy
back some years.
does this
Yeah, I'm
nebulizer
starting to get that old timer stuff.
several times a night.
Really, the only thing I can
Smoke cigarettes. Anyway.
really remember is afterwards, you know, when, you know, because it was just a typical day. You know, got off work, went home, had supper, watched TV. Because used to being a landscaper, my yard was my pride.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted to play in my yard because my yard was nothing but Bermuda.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
I had
Bermuda.
I just had Bermuda grass.
Sure.
It makes
But I
sense.
mean, not that they came over there, but that's what I did. I always worked for my yard.
Mm-hmm. And back then, you said you were working at the Capitol.
Yes.
So okay, so you were very experienced at keeping the yard
Oh,
up.
yeah. I well, you know, got chemical license, all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Okay. You remember anything about the day or evening before? You said it was just a tip.
I know I already said it, but it's just really weird. So he works for the state. He has 2 nebulizers. He has all the prescriptions, right? 2 nebulizers for some reason. And yet the detective to the right was talking about how his child has to go to the ER. Not his child, his grandchild has to go to the ER several times, and they can't get a prescription. So just let that sink in.
All day, you worked all day, and then went home. You remember anything unusual about that evening that stands out to you?
No, other than what I told them about, you know, seeing the white truck, you know, in front of the white Chevy truck in front of their yard.
Okay.
You know, I like I said, I didn't have anything to do with those people. Didn't know them at all. You know,
Okay.
It's not like I went, hey, yeah, you guys live good. No, it wasn't nothing like that.
Okay.
I was outside working on my yard. You know, either talking to the neighbors or kids would come by, Tony, can you fix my bike? You know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't like I'd tell them to come over or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go to other people's houses unless, you know, I was needed or something like that. But everybody just got, oh, Tony will fix your bike and blah, 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 you know. And I tried to make it feel like, you know, that was kind of a safe place, you know, for, you know. Because I had Tristy at the time. She wasn't there during that time. But I had Tristy there since she was, you know, small. And whenever she was there, you know, the kids would come and play with her. And
Now,
you
who
know,
is Tristy? Also?
she was my Well, one of my girlfriend's daughters.
All right, now this is really weird too, or worth mentioning. He ended up taking like 2 polygraphs around the same time, and one of them was for, like he just said, his girlfriend's daughter, right? So he had to take a polygraph about something that happened between him and his girlfriend's daughter, right? And it was so close in time, timeline to taking a polygraph about Kristen Hatfield that they confused it. The cops did, right? So they said something like, "Oh, why did you say that you took a polygraph about Kristen when you didn't," or something like that? And he's like, "No, that was for Tristy." So that puts things into perspective. This guy's a creep. He's a weirdo. Let's listen.
Okay.
That stayed with me a lot.
Okay. So you had a good bond with Tristy, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Was she
And her mom, yeah.
Who was mom?
Mom's dead, unfortunately. Melody, I wonder which name she wanted to go to. Howell.
He almost couldn't remember
she was
his girlfriend's.
Grown, I'm
I can't
assuming.
believe this guy has
About
girlfriends
30.
too. Look at this guy.
No, we don't talk that much anymore because everybody's into this computer stuff, and that's how they communicate. But my daughter was looking on her Facebook, and she'd send us a text that she was fixing to have or that I'm a grandpa.
No.
She had a daughter.
Okay. You said you didn't know them. I'm assuming you're meaning Shannon and Thurston?
Yeah.
Or
And I couldn't even tell you how long they'd lived there.
Okay. I was going to actually ask you that. So you didn't know how long they'd been living there when this happened?
And I going to think they hadn't been there very long.
And tell me what you remember about that. Do you remember seeing them move in or anything?
No. I'm trying to remember. There a friend of mine lived in that house. I can't remember what his damn name is, but he had a janitorial service, Janny King, and I'd visit with him. I helped him put the fence up around his house.
See, now this shows that he's familiar with the layout of the home in question where Kristen and her family lived. He says something along the lines of, "I helped him with the fence, I helped, so that gives you a little dive into the fact that he knew, like, the layout and things like that, etc.
House, helped him. In fact, his boy come up missing one day.
Really?
Yeah, he was like 7 or 8 or younger than that, and we went looking everywhere for him. We finally found him. He was under the bed. Went to sleep, crawled underneath the bed. But I mean, everybody was freaking. We had Midwest City out there, and of course, everybody in the neighborhood was out there looking. Me and him were, going up street, hollering his name, and then she calls, says, "Yeah, we found him. He's under the bed."
That's usually where we start. You learn that early on in FTO school. Check all the closets, check out in the boat, in the backyard, in the shed. So you're saying this friend of yours lived at the house where Shannon and Kirsten lived?
Right.
Okay. And was that immediately before them, or do you know? Do you remember?
I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I don't remember if after he moved out, if there had been somebody in that house before they did, or what. I don't remember.
You remember that guy's name? I know you said you didn't.
William was his first name.
Okay.
I don't remember what his last name was. That's been a while back.
And you said you helped put up the fence around the property, so we're talking about the
the
stockade
privacy
fence in the
fence,
back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you and William put that up?
Yeah. Plank at a time.
That's the old school way.
Yeah.
Make it look nice that way.
Stick at a time, yeah. Well, actually, we had to put it up twice because we had a storm come in and it blew one side all the way back down. So we had to go put it back up.
Mm-hmm.
We got him to finally put the steel, the metal holes. Yeah.
Okay. So, had you ever been inside that house when that gentleman live there, William?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah. I had been in that house. I knew the layout. Not only did he know the layout, but he knew the yard.
And you don't recall his name, but he owned or worked for Jamie King?
I think he had a, what do you call it, anyway, yeah.
Janitorial service?
Yeah, it was a janitorial service, but, you can have a piece of that company, but you still be the company, but you're your own boss.
Franchise.
There we go. That's the critter I was looking for.
So you never, I'm assuming you probably saw Shannon and Kirsten running around the neighborhood and so forth.
To tell you the truth, until that happened, I think I seen the kid one time. She was playing with Crystal that lived up the street, but I don't remember.
I think I
If
seen
it
the
was
kid.
in that time frame or what. I don't really
Did
know.
more than see the kid, dude. I'm not gonna, spoil this, but obviously he did more than see this child. Let's put it that way.
Like I said, I didn't pay no attention.
Okay. Do you remember ever giving food to Kirsten
Oh,
or
no.
talking to Kirsten?
No.
Was she ever at your house?
No.
Anything like
No.
that? Okay.
No.
And do you remember?
I'm actually a leery guy until people start coming around. I'm not just oh yeah, we'll be your friend. No, not like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't have.
Nobody acts like that. Hey, yo, I want to be your friend. Nobody acts like that. Come on, man.
Didn't pay attention to who all was there or who they were. Things like that in my world just fall in place. We accidentally meet. Oh, okay. Now I know you.
Right.
Then, but no, never.
Do you ever recall helping Kirsten with her bike
No.
or anything? You don't remember any interactions with her at all?
No, I know there weren't any interactions. I didn't know them at all. And like I said, I don't even know how long they'd been living there until that happened.
Okay.
Because I was always, that was back when I was fishing. I'd usually come off of work, I'd load up my poles, go to Drucker. And sometimes I'd stay there all night.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd always have, second jobs, after hour jobs,
Mm-hmm.
either landscaping or anything to make a buck.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm pretty sure that Detective Miller talked to you this before, but am I correct that you said you had never been over there mowing for Shannon or
No,
working on
never.
her property or? Okay. Seems like that come up.
Excuse me,
Somebody
Bubba
thought you
Dog.
might have been mowing over there or something.
Now, he was asking, it's about something about a handyman, is what he was asking me about.
Okay. Well, do you remember ever mowing over there or
No.
anything like that?
No.
Okay. While they lived there, do you remember ever being in the yard, the front or backyard for any reason? Okay. How about in the house?
Nope.
Okay.
And
So there was never any time
No.
that Shannon asked for your help to
No.
fix this or that or
No.
mow the yard for me or... Okay.
Just tell you the truth, the only, and I didn't even recognize her when y'all showed me the pictures of her.
Mhm.
That was the only time I could actually say, okay, that, I met her once afterwards. She was going up and down the street and, she was still looking for her kid and, I met her once. I gave her some money so she'd have gas money so she could keep doing what she was doing,
Was this in the days after or
Yeah,
talking a long
days
time?
after.
This guy.
Let me bounce.
He gave her this, I'm sorry, it's disturbing, but I gave her a couple of bucks so she could keep looking for her child, her gas money. And this guy, spoiler alert, right? This guy knows exactly where she is, and she's not alive anymore, okay?
Back a little bit. We got off a little bit off track. I was kind of having to go back over what you remembered through the night.
I think the thing that disturbs me a lot about it is they find out, that he's totally the culprit, basically. And they want to just know where she is so they can give her a proper burial. And he never never told them. Excuse me, man. My nose is stuffed. But like it like really affects me like as a parent.
Right. And I read over the FBI notes that they took when they talked to you. I guess there was some information about you hearing dogs barking.
Yeah, I had a dog in the backyard. His name was Dog.
Oh,
About 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he went to raising hell. So I just, really, believe it or not, in my neighborhood, we still got skunks and possums and stuff like that, plus other dogs.
By the way, my friend had a dog named Dog. That was when we were 19 years old. So yeah, that's great. You're a real genius, man. Real wizard.
Dogs, So I don't know why that woke me up, but because I usually didn't wake up, and usually he's out inside anyway. But it woke me up, and he was barking at that back fence, at our back fence. But at the time, as you walk out my back door, I had an old apricot tree. So unless you went out there, you couldn't see. And I just hollered at him because, thinking it was another dog, because there was always, and traffic, there was human traffic back there. But usually it was other dogs, yeah.
There was human traffic? Just kidding. It just sounds funny. There was human traffic. They were human trafficking. All right.
Dogs or cats, there's always animals through there, so I just, I really didn't think nothing about it. I just hollered at him, and he came in, and I went back to bed.
So you actually let him back into the house?
Yeah.
So you opened, your back door, I'm assuming, and let him in? Yeah. Did you go investigate?
No.
Did you look down the alley?
No.
Anything like that?
No, because usually in the past, whenever I did, that's what it was, either another dog, or people use that alleyway, to get through. Why, I don't know, because,
it's called an easement.
I don't know where you'd be going other than from house to house, but there was always, not always, but there was traffic.
Okay. And speaking of the alleyway, did you have any kind of a gate or anything that went out to it? So you didn't have access to it through your backyard?
No.
I think that'd be ideal to be able to go out into the alley and you could back a trailer up, and it just seems like everybody had a gate.
Well, the house next door to me didn't have a fence. So whenever I weed eated or, did whatever, because I always weed eated, 2 foot around from my fence, next door, and then that alleyway, which the alleyway was.
Because I read your statement, you said you saw your gate ajar. Which gate was that?
Gate ajar.
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny.
You didn't have a gate on the back or on the side? Did you have a gate on the side of the house?
Yeah, we got a gate. Well, it's a gate, but no, it wasn't ajar.
All right, that's a funny thing. So probably the detectives read something that another detective or policeman had written, and it said he had saw that his gate was ajar. Right now, I firmly believe that Anthony Palma doesn't know what the ajar means when it comes to anything. So he's thinking ajar. He's like, yo, my gate was ajar. No, it was a gate, but it wasn't ajar. It's like, dude, ajar means that it wasn't fully closed or fully open, man. It just means it was hanging there. And I'm telling you, he's passed years ago. So he doesn't know what the fuck ajar means. Meaning it wasn't closed and it wasn't open. It was just slightly this, that, and the third. But he doesn't know what that means. So he's like, yeah, I had a gate, but it wasn't ajar. And he, picture what he's thinking in his head. He's like, a gate that's ajar. He's picturing a jar and a gate. He doesn't know what it means. Anyway, I always found that, just kind of comical. Let's continue.
Okay. Anything else that night after you let Dog back in? Did anything else occur that you remember?
No, I went back to bed. Me and Dog.
Okay. And then when did you first become aware of Kirsten was missing and all that's going on?
Well, the next day there was all that activity, and I asked the neighbor across the street what was going on. They said they couldn't find Kirsten, and I didn't think nothing about it, you know. I went to work, and then I don't remember if she called me or I called over there or what, and they said they was wanting people back, you know, because they wanted to go to our houses and blah, blah, blah. So clocked out and came back home.
This guy.
Do you remember what time it was that you clocked out, came back home? Was this morning? Was this
It
afternoon?
was probably mid-morning, something like that.
Now, who was the friend that you were communicating with?
It was, and I don't know what her name is. Y'all showed me a picture of her.
Okay.
I think y'all showed me a picture of her. Anyway, of her husband, Don.
Is this the Halseys, Tiffany Halsey and Don Halsey?
I
Or do you
guess,
know?
yeah.
I'm not sure if Mr. Halsey was Don or not. Did you have
Somebody had called me and said that we were wanted back at our house.
Okay.
So I came home.
Okay. And then what happened?
About
I
it.
just
All
sat there.
back, all about, you know, I'm just
Any of our officers or the
Committed
FBI,
atrocity.
anybody come by?
It was the FBI, you know.
early morning.
We came in, took statements, you know, walked through the house and, you know, wanted to go in the backyard and, you know, because I had a shed back there. You wanted to look in the shed and
Okay. So he did look through the house and look through the shed.
Shed.
You probably don't remember who that was, I'm sure.
No.
Some heinous things
And
inside.
was he just asking you general questions about Kirsten, and did you know
Was
her,
it
have you seen her, that
Oklahoma?
kind of thing, or
basically,
did you write out a statement for him, or did he,
No,
was
I
it just
wrote
a
it.
conversation?
thought he brought up a statement.
Okay.
But he asked me if he'd come in. He wanted, you know, asked me what I knew, which at the time really wasn't anything. He said they was going through canvassing the neighborhood and,
Yeah.
you know, asking everybody. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
17 years ago, Tony, were you experimenting with any drugs?
No.
Never did.
No. I drink beer.
That's it. Just drank.
I drink beer.
But as far as drugs, no.
Was Kirsten ever
I
one of the
drink beer
kids
too,
that you had
man.
seen?
You're a
Was there any
scumbag.
talk in the neighborhood about her being
Those
mistreated or
T-Rex
abused
arms.
or in need?
No,
or
'cause like I said, I
Raptor
had
claws.
no inkling that they even existed until after that. I didn't know. Yeah.
He didn't know they existed.
Maybe once or twice and didn't think nothing about it, you know, just another kid.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Speaking of 17 years ago, who all was living there at your house back then?
Just me.
Okay, so you lived alone. Do you recall, were you dating anybody? Did you have a girlfriend?
Me and Melody were off and on
Okay,
years.
for years. And you said that was Melody Howell, right?
Yes.
And that's, what's her daughter's name?
Tristy. She's got two daughters, Tristy and Robin.
Tristy,
Mm-hmm.
T-R-I-S-T-Y,
S-T.
and Robin.
Robin.
Did you say S-T-I?
No.
Or Y? Okay. Do you know what Tristy and Robin's last names are?
Tristy's was Howell at the time. Robin was married, I think, at the time.
So she was going for something different. Would Melody come stay the night with you sometimes?
Oh.
That kind of thing? Okay. But she didn't live there full time.
But she, like I said, she passed away about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. That's not good.
This is like them saying this is not
As
good.
far as other people you hung out with back then, do you have any good friends or
This
anybody that
person-
you associated with
This
in
person
the
passed
neighborhood?
away
Or?
last.
Oh, in the neighborhood? No. No.
Okay. How about out? I mean, just generally, like who were your friends? Best you can recall back then.
Basically just people that I worked with.
Okay. Up there at the Capitol.
Right.
No long lost pal from school or anything.
No.
I guess you moved off from New Mexico and left them there.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
And I'm not the kind that goes to a bar. You know, if I'm going to drink, I drink at home. I mean, I know I've met a lot of people, but
So you would drink some, but didn't experiment with drugs, didn't do marijuana, anything.
no.
Did they drug test back in them days? That's
I think it would have been funny. He's like, "Oh, you didn't do any other drugs?" He's like, No. Oh, wait. I smoked crack. I smoked crack. I just thought that'd be funny.
Well, they always hung that over on us, you know, but we never had to got UA'd.
Okay. So it was kind of the threat.
Yeah.
He has like the
There were
shortest
some others that
legs.
would've-
You ever had any trouble with the law, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Before?
Years ago, first degree burglary and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. I think I told your partner that.
Really?
Back when I was a dumb kid.
How long ago was that?
I was,
What was it, burglary and
I think I
assault
just turned
and
18.
battery?
Oh, so you were just a boy.
yeah. And all about it, my girlfriend.
Where was that
It's
at?
Walters, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, up in Cotton County.
Yep.
And you
When
were
I got out of
16?
the Job Corps, they found me a job there in Walters as a diesel mechanic.
Is that what your training was?
Actually, I was training
At
for
the
auto
Job Corps.
mechanic, but they found me a job as a diesel mechanic, and the counselor at Job Corps, he made some deal with the government that if the government or the employer would pay half the wages, they would pay, you know, for OJT.
Right. Uh-huh.
So it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it was. I'm surprised that you didn't stay with that. Those diesel mechanics make some money.
Yeah, but it's hard work.
Or is it? It can be harder than weed eating. All
Yes,
day
I
long.
can too. Some of them parts weigh, heads for one of the Versatiles was probably 200 pounds, and you got a tire about that high, and you got to get it up on that, get it, you know, on the block, and then you're torquing stuff at 240 foot-pounds, you know, laying on your back, and it's.
Dude, you're torquing stuff at 240 foot-pounds, man. Do you realize how hard that is? The fuck does that mean? And someone's probably gonna be like, oh, dumb, you just had the third, but it's like, dude.
It's hard.
In the last 17 years, Tony, have you changed much? Is this how you were 17 years ago? Just a hard-working man?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, basically.
It changed older-wise, but no.
I've changed.
Yeah,
I'm not the same
can't
person I
get
was
rich
17 years ago.
anymore.
I've matured a little bit.
No.
I wish I could say that.
Life changes people, you know. As you get older, you start
Of
recognizing
course.
things that you
He's
can handle differently than what you.
I never thought of it
If you
like
had it
that.
to do over again, you'd change. You know, I can
Yeah,
truly
but
say
that's
that.
the thing. We can't ever change it.
Yeah, no, you
Well,
can't
you can't change the
what
past.
happened, but sometimes you can make things better. I remember a few years ago, I went to my high school reunion, and I seen a kid
Give me a
that,
second, I'll be right back.
honestly, I just tormented to death. I made his, and I was able to find him and
Make amends.
I make amends and apologize and tell him how, you know, that I was immature at the time and ask for his forgiveness. And, you know, I think by the end of, he actually remembered some of the things I'd done, and we talked about it, and I felt a lot better, and I think he felt better at the end. I know I did when he said he gave me some absolution, some forgiveness for what. I know you weren't very mature back then, and you know.
Well, it's good for your own self-respect too.
It is to get it out, and I tell you what, the weight, and I don't know why God had put on me a burden of guilt. I want to say, I don't want to use the word guilt, but I really felt like after I did that, I had a new outlook, and because I was.
Now, I find that weird too. Like, why did God put on a burden of guilt? Dude, you put the guilt on yourself. You know what I mean? And it's probably just. What do you mean? This is just the critique for the detective. I don't know why God put on me the burden of guilt. Because you fucked up, man. You put the guilt on. Anyway, let's keep listening.
I picked on him, but I also, you know, other kids does. And it helped me deal with my tormentors and forgiving them, and realizing, because I came from a poor family, I was white trash, lived in a trailer park, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't have the nice clothes, and I had 2 pairs of blue jeans and PF Flyers. Remember PF Flyers? If I was really lucky, I got some. But
Leather shoes or jeans?
no, PF Flyers were black and white tennis shoes. They were the first ones that you ran, that you could run really fast.
Well, when I moved to California, my problem was, whenever growing up, I had crooked feet.
Right.
And the only thing that would fix that was cowboy boots.
Right.
So when I moved to,
Yeah, crooked feet. The only thing that would fix that was cowboy boots. Okay. By the way, I have serious problems with my arch. I don't have one. I'm flat-footed. I've had orthotics custom made in the past, but I never went to a doctor and they said, or orthopedist or whatever, and they said, hey, cowboy boots.
Delano, California, I was the only kid in my school who had cowboy boots.
I imagine.
Yeah, it wasn't
They all had sandals and
tennis shoes.
tennis shoes and all that. But I felt very fortunate to be able to, that he was at this reunion, and we were a small class. There was only about 50 of us, so we all knew each other, and he was dirt poor like me, and which made it even worse. I should have been picking on the
rich
kid, but I didn't. The point being that I really felt a lot better about it, and even now after, that was my 25th high school reunion that I was able to do that.
He still picks on me though, so he really hadn't changed his
But
ways.
see, he
He asked for it.
next week he's gone fishing. The week before he was gone fishing.
You get to go fishing
Yeah.
for a week?
Don't
I call it
discourage him,
vacation.
because because when he's gone,
Do whatever.
it's all right.
It's my therapy.
It's all right.
Actually, it is therapy. It's very good therapy.
It is, because I'm like you. I work. That's all I ever known was work. But now my wife doesn't understand that working is therapy too, especially.
Well, I've always suffered from depression back when I was a young kid. So, and that always seems like working, I guess, gets your mind off of whatever it is you're thinking about, or, whatever. So that's all I do is work.
It gives you a sense of accomplishment too. That's one thing we really.
Especially when your folks tell you that you ain't worth a shit, you'll never amount to hell of beans and blah, 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 blah.
I know.
Showed you, then.
Is that how you grew up in a tough environment like that?
That's a shame. I remember my dad. I wrestled and went to state, and Dad never saw me wrestle. And I asked him about it one day, and because it bothered me for years, and he goes, "Well, I never discouraged you from doing it."
Well, now get you.
And he goes, my dad was
That'll get you.
down there on the farm. Paul, he was a rough man.
Oh shit! It's only
He would
30
browbeat those boys. So
fucking
Dad has
minutes.
progressed to.
All right, we're in
He's
the
better
fucking
than his
wall,
father.
ladies and gentlemen.
Hopefully, I'm better than my father was as far as encouraging.
Yeah, but
his kids.
that telling you that he didn't discourage you, Because what for? You ain't gonna be what the dad. Yeah, blah, 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 don't.
That's wrong.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
And that affects you.
Yeah.
That stays with you for life. I'm always on my boy because my grandson's the greatest thing that walks the face of the earth. And I'm always on him. Hey, you're too hard on that boy. You're too hard on that boy. You're too hard on him. And so hopefully he's a better father than I am. He is. So, but I was very fortunate to get some things off my chest over the years. And as I get older, my dad has even talked to me about things that he has wished he had redone,
Yeah, I think everybody has. The only thing that really, and that's probably getting completely off the deal, but when I left Walters, when I got in trouble with Walters, I was going out with an angel.
Good woman, huh?
My biggest mistake. Yeah, I fucked up big time.
Did you?
That's the only time I can really say that I fucked up.
Lose your temper?
Well, yeah, that's basically what had happened. You know, he was picking on her, and I had, like a dumb kid, had to go do something about it. You know.
Well, not necessarily a dumb kid. Sometimes man got to do.
Well, now you know there's other ways of doing stuff, but and of course I've been drinking.
Right. That's not the best decision-making
No.
process. Conducive to great decision-making. Believe me. I was telling my partner as we was driving out to your work that I was 16 years old and we'd cut school, and back then that's where we went drinking.
Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird.
Did you ever leave any jewelry out there?
No, but I put my Mustang in the ditch out there, and I shouldn't have. And I tried
And
to
I was
hide
telling
it.
them I've probably found 200 gold rings since I've been out there.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Do they wash up on the bank with current and waves, or do you think they get lost there?
Well, they get lost and then they get covered up, you know, because of the wave action, and then the wave action
man.
uncovers it again, and then you have to be at the right time at the right
Mr.
place.
Science.
So every time, you know, after the wind's blowing, you know, I check my shoreline. Because I hate glass in the water.
Yeah.
That's another one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
Stepping on that.
Yeah.
Well, first month I was there, I was out at Turkey Pass picking up trash, and people were in from out of state. Kid goes in the water, what's the first thing he does? Steps on the damn rusty hook. And after that, I thought, no. So every day, I'd go out there and I'd have a couple 5-gallon buckets, and I'd fill them suckers up. Okay, you know, I do that enough, you know, I'd get it all, but you don't. You'd be surprised. You get out there and you have it spotless, next day, next swim, like nothing ever, you know, you never did that, nothing.
Hey, to get back to what we're here about, I mean, you've been
Hey,
living
to get
there
back
all
to,
these years since
you know,
Kirsten went missing.
You getting locked up for the rest
I'm
of your
curious about your thoughts on what happened, who might be involved, that kind of thing.
I don't know, to tell you the truth. Like I said, I didn't know him. But the one thing that's always bothered me, that she left, the mom. She went to Jones, I guess, with her dad or something like that. You could have got me off out of my house. I mean, I know, what if she comes back, or, you know, what if somebody makes a call, or, you know, something like that. There was no way I'd left that house.
bastard.
That's the only thing that bothers me.
Yeah.
That's what bothers him. That the mother was like, oh my God, I can't find my child, blah, blah, blah. That's what bothered him. Not the fact that he caused that and murdered somebody. Alright? Come on, let's be real here.
So you felt like she shouldn't have left, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever, at any point over these years, or back when it occurred, have any knowledge of what happened, or know who was involved?
No.
Were you in any way involved?
No. No.
So you're not responsible
No.
for Kirsten's disappearance?
No.
Didn't play any part in that?
No. Like I said, didn't know. Didn't have, like I said, I just probably, you know, might have seen her once, twice, playing with the kids, but other than that, I didn't know.
Well, just out of curiosity, what do you think the motivation was of whoever did this? I mean, why would this have happened?
Well, Dan, I could have told you, but after, over the years, you know, and hearing the rumors and this and that and the other, it always boils down to drugs. You know, I heard that she was on meth and cocaine and all this other, and Dawn's wife was the same thing. You know, she said, yeah, she'd been over there, you know, that night, and they got lit up. So apparently she did get lit up because, you know, if somebody did come in, I mean, wouldn't you have heard it?
Yeah, so he's basically saying they were wasted. He kind of knew they were. They were popped. They were doing whatever. They were hyped. They were tweaking. And he's saying, like, they should have known. They should have known what was happening with their daughter. But by the way, none of that is even documented, I don't think. But it's like, dude, that's why you did what you did. You're a scumbag. You knew the layout of the house, knew the layout of the yard, and you thought that they were blasted, and then you did what you did.
I don't know.
So
But I know
does that
some
mean
people-
that she left Kirsten home alone, you think? Or
I don't know, but I'm sure she did. But I don't know. Like
She left Kristen alone. I'm not sure, but I know she did. Very weird thing to say.
I said, I didn't know, and I really didn't pay much attention to Don and his wife. It was just,
where did they live? I'm pretty sure
kind of
that's
catty corner
all.
for me.
Straight across the street?
Not straight, just catty corner. A little white house, catty corner for me.
Okay.
And they had 2 or 3 kids, and I'd come home one day, I was rewarding myself. I did something. I was stopped at Kentucky Fried Chicken, got me a family pack of chicken. I was going to go down. And the kids, whenever I walked up, they was just, the way they were eyeballing me, you know, like they hadn't ate nothing. I mean, they were really, if you'd have seen them, you'd have thought that too, because I mean, they were skinny. So I got me a piece of chicken, I was chewing on it, and they just, you want some chicken? Yeah. He said, oh, they can have this? Yeah. So I just gave them the whole damn thing.
Yeah. That's good.
Because no, it's not, no, it's something everybody do. When you got kids that are, you know,
Yeah.
and I know he was a welder by trade, but he, you know, talking to him a time or two, you know, things weren't going right for him, and, you know, he didn't have money and all that. So, yeah, I didn't have a problem, you know.
Who are we talking about? Was a welder? Don? Okay. From looking back over the history, I understood that Shannon's brother, I guess, stayed with you for
Aaron,
a short
sure.
time.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron.
Tell us about that. How did that happen? And
He was in the neighborhood, you know, he's apparently looking for, you know, his niece. So I'm out there one day and he stops and he talks, you know anything, and blah, 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 you know, and we just got to talking, and, you know, he's living in a damn, you know, under a bridge, and dude, you know, I found out already that that night that he'd been locked up. You know, so he wasn't a suspect in my book. So, yeah, I opened my house to him. You know, if you ain't got no, because I did that for anybody. You know, it's sick to say, but that's the kind of guy I am. So he needed a place to stay. There was a couch, you know, you can trash here for a couple days and, you know, try to do what you got to do to, you know, figure out what happened to your niece. Because, I mean, to me, that's, like y'all, that's serious.
sure, absolutely.
That's a serious
How
thing.
long after Kirsten went missing did this happen? Was it like the same week? Was
Yeah,
it
probably in the same week.
in the same week?
Yeah.
And then
I can't verify that because, like I said, that's been a while.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was probably about in the same week.
How long did Aaron stay there with you?
Just a couple of days, and then, you know, he'd go off, and then he'd come back, and then I wound up having to just tell him he couldn't come back because he was on meth too. At the time, didn't know it.
And that ain't too much because you've heard that Shannon was using drugs too.
I mean, I don't know for 4 or 5, but that's what I heard.
And I'll just say this: if you ever partied with them, if you knew they were doing drugs or witnessed it, just tell us that.
No, no.
We're not.
No, I don't. No. Like I said, and y'all know, you got people that do drugs, you got people that drink, and you don't do drink, and you don't, I drink.
Yeah.
But no, I never partied with them.
Got people that
And I never partied with Don and his wife.
Now, did you know Aaron at all before?
No.
So you'd never met him, never talked to him before either? Did he ever confide in you anything about the case or anything about
Just
Shannon?
he couldn't clear his sister. Those words were always, I can't do it as the way he said it.
Hey, Anthony, I can't clear my sister. I'm worried, but I can't clear my sister. This guy. Why are his legs like... His leg is like a foot and a half. A foot and a half. I don't know. It's weird.
I can't clear my sister.
So he was suspicious of Shannon, huh? Did he ever give you any real factual information that would be beneficial to the case?
No, like I said, I'm here on my own free will. If I had any information, yeah, I'd give it to you. Because that'd be the same thing if something were to happen to my daughter. My God, yeah. I don't know how she does it. I mean, if she's innocent, God bless her soul. I don't know how she does it, because I just thinking about it, what would I do if my daughter come up missing?
Oh, yeah.
And she's my world. That's all I've got. My old lady can go to hell, but my kid, that's no.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's
it's
not
hard
me in jail, because I'd be tearing Midwest City.
It's hard to imagine. We've talked a lot about kind of the background. I want to kind of talk to you about some new information developed in this case, okay? As you know, Detective Miller got some buccal swabs from you a couple months back or whenever it was. There was a reason for that, okay? And we collected DNA samples from lots of people, but we had resubmitted some evidence from the case and got a DNA hit, okay? The reason those buccal swabs were being collected was we were trying to find the person responsible. Okay. We talked about, had you ever been in the backyard, had you ever been in the house, all those things, and you said you hadn't.
Not while they were there, no.
Okay. Well, I don't believe you, Tony. I don't think you're telling the whole truth.
Go.
Okay. Your DNA is in the backyard the morning that she was discovered missing.
Alright, here we go. I almost forgot when this was gonna pop up. I'm drinking. I might have to pick this up tomorrow around, 43:15. You're not gonna notice, but I'll splice it. So, anyway, God bless. I'm gonna go play a video game and try to get this horrible image and this shit out my fucking brain. God bless. Godspeed. See you tomorrow.